So we are in the belly of the beast. We're in the heart of NYU. NYU is kind of the monster that ate Greenwich Village. Now, it was originally founded with a dual mission, one of which it accomplished, one of which it certainly did not. You'll actually laugh when you hear what the second part was. So, Trinity Church was and still is, the parent of Columbia University. So they founded NYU in 1831 to be a secular alternative to Columbia. That they succeeded in. The second part is funny. The second part of their mission was to provide affordable education to the middle class. That's what they call mission creep. They have drifted quite. Last I heard, and I'm sure this figure is out of date, was $65,000 a year on the tuition alone. Is that still the 90? Yeah. So, my figures are out of date. But across the street here, this is part of NYU. That's what NYU's done. It's like the blob, just kind of absorbed every building in the area. This is today called the Brown Building. Originally, it had the unfortunate name, the Ash Building. That is unfortunate because it was the site of the third greatest loss of life in a single day in New York City history after 9/11 and the sinking of the General Slocum at the turn of the century. This was the site of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, where on March 25th, 1911, 146 Jewish and Italian immigrant women burned to death when a fire broke out in the sweatshop that they were working in. Now, there were a few reasons that this fire was so deadly. Most of them boil down to the fact that they had no workplace safety laws, no labor laws. So the owners used to just lock the doors to make sure the women did not take breaks. Heroes that they are, when they found out there was a fire, they just left. They didn't unlock the doors or anything. They just left the women to their fate. Now, a very brave elevator operator took the elevator up with the building in flames and unlocked the door. But it didn't help because they had no safety codes for how you could build that kind of a space. The doors opened in, not out. So when he unlocked it, they just crushed against the door in their panic and couldn't get it open. Also, to us, that's not even a building worth noticing. But to them back then, that's a skyscraper. The fire department had not caught up with buildings like this yet. Their ladders only went 6 stories. The factory was on the 7th, 8th, and 9th floor. Their nets were not made to catch people falling from that height. So even the women who tried to jump wound up tearing through the nets. So this is a picture of the bodies piling up.
Oh, Jesus.
Outside the building. And the police just watching the women, often teetering on the ledge, given the terrible choice between jumping to their death or burning to death. A lot of them would catch on fire and then plummet to the ground. People who saw it from a distance thought they were throwing fabrics out the window to save the fabrics. They couldn't imagine that these were the women jumping out. Now, if you come here on March 25th, every year the fire department has a memorial where they bring 146 roses, each with the name of one of the women who died that day. And they raised their ladder to the 9th floor as they were not able to do that. If anything good came out of this, it kind of settled the debate on whether workers need unions until Reagan, for a while anyway. The debate came back. But nobody could question whether workers needed that protection after that. The owners were put on trial, surprisingly. Not surprisingly, they were found not guilty. Tragically, they weren't. That was the problem. There were no laws against what they did. No law then as now against being a horrible human being in and of itself. A lot of the safety codes we have today came out of this fire. They had a committee that investigated and made recommendations. If you look at the doors behind us, you'll see a bar across. That's called a panic bar. That was invented because of this fire to make sure that people not only doors would always open out in public spaces, but no one would have to fiddle with a knob. People are panicked. As soon as you hit the panic bar, The door opens. It's foolproof, panic-proof. And the young man who led the committee that made those recommendations had a bright future in politics. He was a scion of an old money New York political family. FDR headed that committee.
Please clap.